Marc with the Fantasy Knockout Fantasy Football Show. Today is Tuesday, December 20th. I'm excited for today's show. It's still the playoffs, semifinals, Week 16 must-add players. Who are we looking at this week? Do you need to stream a quarterback or a defense? You can follow the show at Fantasy Knockout on any social media. Make sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. And let's hit this new goal of 1,000 subscribers for YouTube. Let's talk some news.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the news.
News with views. So running back Jonathan Taylor from Indianapolis has been diagnosed with a high ankle sprain and is, quote, highly unlikely to return this season. So that means Zach Moss and Deion Jackson are going to be the main guys there. Moss looked like he was the first and second down running back, and then Deion was the third down, the receiving option for Indianapolis. Quarterback Jalen Hurts from Philadelphia. The reports say Hurts with his shoulder is quote, uncertain to play on Saturday. It said that he suffered a sprained shoulder late in the third quarter, and he continued to play through it. The injury is said to not be long-term, which is good news, but Gardner Minshew time, he's going to get the start this week. Running back Austin Eckler from the Chargers, his head coach Brandon Staley said tests on Eckler's shoulder came back negative, so that's good news. Eckler should be good to go. Running back Caleb Huntley out of Atlanta, he's going to miss the remainder of the season. I believe he suffered an Achilles injury, so Tyler Algier is going to be the back to pick up there. And the quarterback Mike White from the New York Jets, head coach Robert Saleh told reporters that White with his ribs still has, quote, a lot of hurdles to clear before being able to play. The Jets do have the Thursday night game, so he's in doubt to play, so it is looking like it'll be Zach Wilson again. Main event, the players add for Week 16. Second week of playoffs, the semis. Congrats on moving on. If you didn't, I'm sorry. We'll get it. We'll get it next year. But if you're in need of some players to pick up this week, here we go. Quarterbacks: Brock Purdy from San Francisco, Gardner Minshew out of Philadelphia. Purdy is about 21% owned. Minshew is about 1% owned. Zach Wilson from the Jets, 7% owned. And then Sam Darnold, it's ugly, but he's got a decent matchup. He's about 6% owned. Tight ends, if you're in need of a tight end, Chig Okonkwo from Tennessee, he's about 29% owned. Tyler Conklin from the Jets, he's about 30% owned. And then Juan Johnson from the Saints, he's about 20% owned. Running backs, Tyler Algier out of Atlanta, he's my top running back to pick up this week. He's about 37% owned. Deion Jackson would be next at 7% owned. Zach Moss from Indianapolis is about 3% owned. James Cook from Buffalo, he's about 53% owned. Check to see if he's out there. Chuba Hubbard from Carolina, he's about 39% owned. And then also, handcuff your running backs, guys. Look what happened to Jonathan Taylor. Handcuff your running back. Go pick up your handcuff, please. So that would be like a Jordan Mason for San Francisco, Jaylen Warren from Pittsburgh, Joshua Kelly from the Chargers, Alexander Madison from Minnesota. These guys could be league winners if your stud goes down. All right, some wide receivers. And if you're in need of a wide receiver, Jahan Dotson from Washington. He had a nice game Sunday night. He's about 17% owned. Treylon Burks should be clearing the concussion protocol now. He's out of Tennessee. He's about 49% owned. DJ Chark from Detroit. He's about 51% owned. Zay Jones, the monster this past week, he's out of Jacksonville. He's about 55% owned. KJ Osborne out of Minnesota had a solid week. He's about 5% owned. Marquise Goodwin from Seattle, now that Tyler Lockett's going to be out, Goodwin should fill in that role there. He's already splashed earlier in the season. He's about 3% owned. And then Chris Moore out of Houston, he's about 19% owned. It's playoff time, so it's okay to drop that fifth string receiver that you're not going to need to stash. Go get that handcuff. I can't stress that enough. Pick up a handcuff. Pick up an extra defense if you need it for the playoffs. Some streaming quarterbacks this week. Brock Purdy out of San Francisco. He's got Washington. He's about 21% owned. He's got a good matchup. Has been serviceable for the last 3 weeks. Zach Wilson from the Jets. He's got Jacksonville this week. He's 7% owned. Good matchup. He looked good enough against Detroit this past week. You could play him this week. Streaming defenses. The Tennessee Titans are my number one defense to get. They have Houston. They're about 48% owned. The last 4 games, they've had 6 sacks and 2 interceptions. They get a top matchup this week. And then the Los Angeles Rams, they have Denver. They're about 32% owned. The last 4 games, they've had 8 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries. And Arizona just got 11 points against Denver. The Chargers are another defense you can look to stream this week. They're at Indianapolis. They're about 24% owned. The last 4 games, they had 7 sacks, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and the number 1 defense to stream against is the Colts. So play any 3 of those. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. The next show is Week 16 must-start players. Just a quick reminder, a lot of Saturday games this week, so make sure we set our lineups early. Thank you for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe whatever platform you're watching or listening on, and please leave that rating and review. It really helps me out. All right, till next time, see ya!